What went through your mind? I guess this would be my first question. When you saw the attacks on Gus Waltz, what was the first thing that entered your mind?
Well, my guard goes up immediately for any vulnerable child. It started with my nephew. My sister, she got pregnant when she was 15. She had a baby when she was 16, and that baby, and I thought that was like one of the worst things that could ever happen, right? Super young having a baby. Well, that baby, my nephew Skylar, was very deformed and had a lot of health issues and stuff like that. And still to this day, he still has issues where when people see him in public, they point and stare and they marginalize him. And it certainly, as he's in his 30s now, and he's battled with drugs and all kinds of things, having to deal with just the way that the world beats him down and looks at him like he's a freak and treats him like he's a freak. And so my dukes were already up,
right?
But then we were blessed with this grandbaby, and we've decided to help raise him because of the challenges and stuff like that. And our son, who's the dad, is just a hard worker, and he's getting his life together, and we want him to be able to do that. And we're happy to make the sacrifice. Noah is his daddy. Noah's an amazing person. But we, it hit home, it hit home.
Of course. I think it hit home for a lot of people. I don't think you're the only one. I know you're not the only one. And this shouldn't have anything to do with politics. Would you even describe yourself as a political person that's out there talking about, because I don't think you are that person, are you?
I've never been political in my entire life.
Right. That's what I thought. Yeah.
I did know, and I understood inherently the threat that Donald Trump was going to be to this country. The moment that he announced that he was going to run for president, but not only that, but then whenever he snaked his way into the job, because we knew he was a snake before we let him in. Sure. I just knew, and I knew we were going to be going through all of this nonsense. I just knew it. And I remember being so depressed over the whole thing because I just predicted all of this. Had I known that it was going to be, that we were still going to be dealing with this 9 years later,
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't believe where we're at right now. I look at the Kamala Harris family, very close-knit family. Same thing with the Waltz family, right? They just seem like decent, normal human beings. And just today, before you came on, I'm having to report these stories about the Arlington Cemetery story where apparently the Trump campaign breaks protocol, and then Donald Trump goes on his Truth Social making sexual innuendo jokes, showing them
let him keep doing it. Let him keep doing it. Let him keep doing it. Operation Let Them Speak.
Yeah.
Let them keep doing it. Let him keep alienating people. Do you know? I've just recently, a really, really good friend of mine who's now joined our side, and he's on Twitter. My buddy Joe Darrow, he just shared with me his father's Purple Hearts and Medal of Honor, and this guy was a pretty hardcore Trumper, and I showed him the videos of all the stuff that's been going on, and his mind's blown. He texted me today. He said, "Have you heard of Project 2025?" I said, "Buddy, buckle
I'm glad
up."
You did that. But
buckle up.
But you know what I find is problematic is that there are some, I'm glad you did that, by the way, but there are some Trump supporters out there. They're either unaware of these things, or when you show it to them, they're in denial. I'm glad your friend was able to see the light, but I know some people that have served, and I say to myself, thank you so much for your service. How can you support this guy? And I don't know how to deal with those people, Jeremy. I just don't.
You can't, it's like trying to deal with an abusive, is being in an abusive relationship with a narcissist. You're never going to change a narcissist. You have to understand, like, all of these people have to admit that they were really, really wrong, and they're not going to do it. They all suffer from the same thing. It's American elitism. It's narcissism. It's A lot of them are just racist and hateful, ugly
Sure.
people. And
Bigots.
unfortunately, we've discovered that a lot of our people that we thought were friends and the people that we're related to are kind of awful people. But I think what's weird and the irony in the whole long run is that this is, we've shown the glitch, the chinks in our armor. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this has shown where our country is vulnerable. And so from all of this nonsense, we will build a more robust system of making sure that this stuff doesn't happen in the future. So in the long run, he is going to make America great again. It's the weirdest thing. It's going to be completely not on his terms,
Right.
but I think that people are really truly ready to just be joyful and happy and love each other again. Because I can tell
Yes.
you, my brother, who is pretty virulent on Facebook. I try to stay away from Facebook because it's too toxic. But my brother is really political on Facebook, and we've got some relatives, and they've never been nasty to him until he posted my video. Because I didn't post that video, the one that you just shared with everybody. I didn't post that on Facebook. I posted it on Twitter, and
Right.
now it went everywhere else. But I didn't do that. My brother did. And I've never had family be nasty to my brother on Facebook until he posted that sweet video that I posted.
Wait,
And
hold
now,
on.
and now they're attacking him because he posted that nice video.
You gotta, well, let's backtrack here. This is mesmerizing to me, and
Isn't
I'm
that
glad
weird?
this is mesmerizing because Jeremy, you'd be the first one. You're not acting in this video. That's real emotion because you're a good
Oh,
person and you're talking about your beautiful grandson. Everything you said, I think any decent human being would agree and resonate with what you said. It certainly resonated with me. And you're telling me your brother posts your video, who also is a well-known actor, posts your video, and you're saying members of your family are now against you? I
yeah,
find
but
that.
well, because it makes them realize how awful they are. And it's that thing when you hold a mirror up to somebody, they don't, they're not, they want to lash out and go, no, it's you, it's you, it's you. The narcissist will never accept that it's you did something. They
But
did
what's
it because you made them do
But
it,
what's the
right?
argument, Jeremy? What's the argument? All you're simply saying is, my grandson is a special needs. We love him, and we should love, Tim Waltz's son. What is the argument that they're making? What do they say that you put in your video that they don't like? Like, I just don't understand.
I if you can figure it out, share it with me, man. Share it with me. But it really does come down to the fact that I think that it does. It holds a mirror up to their true behavior and nature, and it shows that uh, showing humanity isn't the weakness that they try to make it out to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Just because they might not have the ability to love and whatever, and I know it's not because they haven't been loved, because my family is a loving family.
Mhm.
They just happen to be in Oklahoma, and that's the unfortunately,
I hear you. I
they're
understand
sort
that.
of just a victim of their surroundings, and
Sure.
they're in it's the ecosphere that they're in.
If you're just joining us, by the way, he is actor and artist Jeremy London, joining us right now on the show. Did you ever think that when you were recording that video, that it would get as many views? I mean, I would imagine you weren't thinking about that. You were just speaking from the heart, of course, but that video has gone viral. Did you ever think to yourself, I wonder how many people are going to watch that? Because millions and millions and millions of people across the world have watched that video.
I couldn't even imagine in my wildest dreams. It's not why I did it. Like I said in the moment, I don't know why I felt compelled to do it, but I just felt like that dad grandpa thing in me was coming out, because
Right.
I felt really just defensive from part of for Gus. You know what I mean? Like that thing.
Right.
All of a sudden, like Gus was my my baby is Gus. My grandbaby is Gus. Gus is my. It's they're no. You're going to hear him in the background chirping back there. He's back there watching his Elmo.
Yep.
He he it hit home, and
Yeah.
I knew immediately that people were going to be ugly, and man,
Yeah.
it just hurts my
Sad.
heart to think that anybody could be ugly to these precious babies. And it was
Yeah,
just
I agree.
such a genuinely sweet moment. So I wonder who can watch that and get something other than good the warm fuzzies from it? Who
Right.
watches that and goes, ah, what a pussy? Wow, I can't
A big
believe
MAGA supporter.
this retard, blah, blah, blah,
I,
whatever. Who does that?
I'll tell you, Jeremy, who does that. The people that are the huge MAGA Trump supporters that go to his rallies, that when he said I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they'll still support me. These are exactly those kinds of people. So that brings me to my next question. By the way, your video has almost 4 million views just on Twitter alone. That's unbelievable. What would you say if you had the opportunity, PG-13, because we are on radio, but what would you say, Jeremy? No, that's okay. What would you say if you had the opportunity to talk to somebody like an Ann Coulter or this radio host in Milwaukee, who obviously made disparaging comments about Gus Waltz? If you had the opportunity to speak with them, if you even wanted to, what would you say to them, if anything?
I guess I would ask them, like, does this make you feel bigger? Does bullying a vulnerable person make you feel better about yourself? And if so, what happened? Why are you so broken? What's wrong with you? Do you need a hug? Can I hug you? Can I give you a hug? Because these people that mock love, that mock the way that Tim Walz greeted his wife on stage whenever Melania won't even get on stage with Trump, and and all. It's so weird. I think that ultimately it comes down to the fact that they're jealous of the love. They're like, wow, man, I wish my dad loved me like that, and I wish my kid loved me like that. I
I
wish
think
I
I
had
agree.
a
Yeah.
pure sweet moment in my life like that, and I will never have that. I've never had it, and will never will have that. And so a lot of the people in that set also mistake love for money, and so and success with love, because love equals money and all of that stuff. And so their idea of what love is so convoluted anyway,
Mhm.
that you're not worthy of being loved unless you're a certain level of successful or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Sure. I want to ask.
Regardless of whether you've earned it or not.
Sure. No, really well said. I agree with you. You know, you don't live in Hollywood, but you hear a lot of people on the far right say, "Oh, these are Hollywood elitists, the people that are anti-Donald Trump. They're all liberals." Listen, you know that you've surrounded yourself with a lot of, certainly in the '90s, with those kinds of Hollywood people, and I don't disparage them at all. People like George Clooney, these people are on the right side of history. I'm with them. But what would you say to those on the far right that say, oh, these people in Hollywood, these actors and actresses, they're just a bunch of liberal elitists? What would you say to that?
I just let people think whatever they want to think, because the truth is that they're not. I mean, they're screaming into the void. The whole everything, even the whole hating Kamala thing, they're all just. It's all only resonating within this very small little bubble of hateful people that need to say she slept her way to the top, and then they make themselves feel good about it, and they make memes and they do all this stuff. But the problem is that it's not actually getting outside of that dumb sphere, and attracting more people to the cause. It's actually turning people off. And so that's why I say Operation Let Them Speak. Let
Yeah.
them continue to just be as dumb as possible. No, I think I was posting because Mark Hamill tweeted something nice to me today, and
Yep.
yes, it's when you have the truth on your side, you pound the truth. When you have the law on your side, you pound the law. When you have neither on your side, you pound the table. And that's
Yes.
all these fools are doing, is
Mhm.
yelling, "Poo poo, you're a poo poo
Yeah.
face ninny,
Yeah. Yeah.
gay
You're
everything,
right.
gay, 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 gay everything,
Yeah.
gay,
You're
gay,
right.
gay."
They're the ones who are doing the culture wars, right? I mean, these people on the far right, these MAGA supporters, they're the ones that want to ban books. They're the ones that talk about drag queens. They don't want to talk about gun control, right? But they want to talk about how drag queens and these teachers are indoctrinating our kids, and yet they have no answers to really help our children. They don't. And what I ask people all the time, and I think about this a lot, maybe I shouldn't, Jeremy, but I think to myself, how can you look in the mirror if you have children and you have a wife, and how can you say I'm all in and I support this guy who's a 34 count felon, liable sexual abuser? That's the part that I just don't understand. If you don't like Harris's policies, I get that. Let's have a conversation about that. I do that every day. But that's the part that I really just don't understand. How do you look in the mirror and support this man? I just don't understand.
That's why, I only feel so sorry for this Corey Comparatore guy or whatever his freaking name is, the guy that got shot.
Well, he was a lunatic. He was a lunatic.
Man, he took his wife and his daughter to celebrate a known rapist and felon and traitor to this country and lunatic and person that has done more to divide this country in history, and he got his ass shot. I don't feel sorry for him, man. I still think that all of it's still kind of up in the air, right? What happened in it, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and so I just sit back and let things play out the way that they play out. But I I instinctively know that,
right,
it's not everything is what we always think it is, but there's in a lot of cases, but I think that, it's hard to feel sorry
for a bigot and a racist. That's who he was. That's who he was.
Yeah,
I mean, I went on his social media, and listen, I feel bad for his family. The man didn't deserve to die, but I'm with you in the aspect of, I don't feel sorry for him. If you just went through his social media, it's nothing but bigotry and hatred, attacks on our press secretary because she's black. I mean, how do you feel sorry for somebody like that?
Well, they think that they lost their father that day he got shot, but they lost their father.
Agree.
The day he started buying into all of that nonsense.
Agree. Brainwashed. I mean, do you feel like I feel that? Because I've been to Trump rallies to cover it. I've been to Harris rallies. And yeah, I know. Part of it was fun, though, because I got to make fun of some of these idiots.
I enjoyed watching your videos, buddy. You are brave. I love it. That. I am way too man, I don't have the strength not to just want to smack somebody in the face and just when you're just filling them with facts and you're saying these are the actual facts, and then they go, that's inconvenient.
It's challenging. I do it on the radio.
Q told me this other thing happened.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's challenging. I try to expose them for who they are. And I use the term on Newsmax when they interviewed me. They didn't even know who I was. I used the term Klan cultist. It felt like I was at a Klan rally. And then all the MAGAs were going after me. And I said, well, no, because it's a cult. The Klan is a cult. This is a cult. When you go to these, and Jeremy, I think you'll agree with me. When I go to these Kamala Harris rallies, I went to one a few weeks ago. It was love. Like you said, joy. You didn't see F Donald Trump shirts. You didn't see the Confederate flag. It wasn't about hate. But when I go to these Trump rallies, and I've been to a few of them, you see the, let's go Brandon shirts, get rid of Joe and the Ho. And it's about bigotry and hatred and selling Trump Bibles and the Confederate flag. I just feel like there's so many fundamental differences between the two.
I think, okay, so for my entire life, I've always been fascinated with a couple of things. I've been fascinated with Nazi Germany, and I've been fascinated with the Civil War, in the sense that how could these things have possibly happened, right? And now I know it's how it happened, because they appeal to the dumbest of the dumb. They scare the cheesiness out of people. They just keep people scared. Everything is doom and gloom, and so I think that it's the yin and yang of life, man. It's my version of, if there's anything like of any type of spirituality or religion or whatever. It's not even like about which I don't really believe in, but it's the good in the universe and it's the bad in the universe. It's the dark side. It's the dark side thing. You know what I mean? Even though I'm not truly a Star Wars nerd, it truly is. Do you choose to be on the side of good, or do you choose to be on the side of bad?
I wanted to ask you about this because I feel like there are some actors and musicians that are afraid to take a side. Obviously not you, which I appreciate very much. And I want to bring up a name, somebody that your brother worked with. I think he's a good guy and a great actor, Matthew McConaughey. But I remember after the Uvalde shooting, he had this really emotional moment where he spoke, if you recall, at the Biden press conference. But I said to myself, you're not criticizing the governor in your state, Governor Abbott, who's making it easier for bad people to get their hands on guns. I believe he was genuine, and I believe his heart comes from the right place. But would you like some of these people like the Matthew McConaughey's to maybe take it a little bit further, like you did? Because I get frustrated. It's like, okay, you're talking about these innocent children that were gunned down and killed in Uvalde. Horrible. Let's talk about the root of the problem, which he didn't do. I was a little disappointed in that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you know, I think that a lot of that is because McConaughey is so intrinsically Texan, and when you're in Texas, you know, um, I think that he knows how to read the room in the sense that even though he was surrounded by people that were angry about the shootings and all of that stuff, he understands that politicizing that in the moment
Mhm.
isn't a very it doesn't help anything. Politicizing those moments are what the other side does.
Right.
That's the issue. And so people say, you know, he's not doing his part, when if he's adding fuel to the fire, um, what does it help in the long run? You know what I mean?
I get that. No, I understand that explanation. I think maybe if you talk, maybe not about Abbott, but maybe a little bit more about gun control. But I totally understand
I think
that.
that some people are, you know, look, man, if you don't stand up for something, you'll fall for anything. And I
Right.
honestly will always believe that. And so I don't know how to keep my mouth shut on these things.
Neither do I.
Some people just have more restraint than I do.
Right.
And you know, I just try not to be the yippy dog
Sure.
person that like is just nagging at people, and then you get to a point where you're just
But
annoying, and then people stop listening to you. You
But
know?
Jeremy, we need more people like you, like the story you told about, sending a video to your friend and educating him, someone who served, and they see the light. I think we need more
Yeah.
people like you, and you happen to have a large platform, and millions of people saw that video. I would say 99% of them were touched by it. I was. And we wouldn't be talking
Thank you.
now if I didn't watch that video. I said, I got to get this guy
Thank
on
you.
the show. I have to ask you a few fun questions,
Let's
because
do it.
we've been talking about a lot of serious issues, which
Yes.
are, by the way, very important. And I'm glad we did
Yes.
this. Do you talk to anybody from that cult classic Mallrats anymore? Like, are you still in touch with like Ben Affleck or any of those guys?
We see each other at
Yeah,
conventions. Not Ben. Ben doesn't do conventions.
right.
But I live in Mississippi now, and I
Yeah.
don't go to Hollywood if I don't have to. I try to avoid it at all.
I don't blame you.
Avoid it at all costs. And so, unless I have a job there, or I'm out there to see my son or something, I don't
When
really
you're
get
filming a
to it.
movie like that, or even Party of Five, when you first got started there, when you're filming these, do you think to yourself, wow, this is going to be huge? They're going to be talking about this 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road? Or
Oh
does it not
no.
even enter your mind?
No, no. I learned not to do. Well, Mallrats was one of the things that taught me not to do that. I thought it was going to be successful, and nobody went to the movie theater to see it. And so I, learned pretty early on. But I also I was on my first television series. We won the Emmy for best drama,
Yeah.
and then we got canceled
Hmm.
pretty promptly, right? Not too long after that. So I've kind of learned that these things,
Yeah.
I never try to celebrate too early.
Yeah.
You know.
Would you say, I understand that. Would you say that cult classic is fair to analyze that with Mallrats? Because people still talk about it today.
Oh, it's far away. I mean, it's one
Yeah.
of the cult classics, I would say.
Right.
It took 10 years for anybody to ever even recognize me from that movie. But once it did, it has kind of sort of just steamrolled and kind of continued to get more and more and more and more. And the more
Uh,
people get into Kevin's movies, and our
Of
fan
course.
base is getting younger now, which is pretty cool. We go to these
No,
cons,
no
and
question.
the people are younger that are coming up now, and
Yeah.
I love it.
Jeremy, if you had to pick your least favorite thing about your industry and your most favorite thing about being an actor in this
Mm.
industry, what would those be?
Oh gosh, favorite thing's easy. It's the traveling and meeting new people.
Mhm.
Traveling, I think, is the most enjoyable thing to me. With the
Yeah,
grandbaby going crazy in the back.
that's okay.
Um, what I don't like,
Yeah.
what I hate about it the most is the fame.
Really?
Wish I yeah. It
Mm.
changes people, man. Fame makes people wacky. It brings out it changes you. It changes your own vision of who you are within yourself. You lose track of who you are, and then it's easy to fall into things that maybe are outside of your what your initial, like, who you thought you were and stuff like that. It changes you, and I think that fame isn't a healthy thing. If we
Mm.
could, I wish we could do what we do and just, if somebody recognized us on the street, they'd be like, hey, good to see you or whatever, rather than getting like so sort of um
Yeah.
strange about it, because I'm of the mind that some of the biggest idiots I've ever met in my entire life are actors, and so I don't understand actors being put onto pedestals. And so I think the people that should be put on pedestals are like brain surgeons and astronauts and people that
Right.
actually make a difference in the world.
Yep.
And so my idea of being applauded sort of is I think less broad than a lot of people's other people's.
Yeah. Well, I think we will agree on this. And listen, your movies are great and you've had a great career, and you're a great artist, but you need to be commended for your video and putting yourself out there with raw emotion. You have made a difference in the world. People could talk about, oh, I love that movie, I love this, and that's great, but you have made a difference because of putting that video out. You have touched a lot of people. And I just want to thank you for doing that. You and your brother for putting it out there on Facebook too. It's really important what you're doing. You have a platform. You're using it for the right reasons, Jeremy. And I really do appreciate you for coming on and talking about this. It sounds like you have a wonderful family, and best of luck to you and your family and your beautiful grandson. And thanks for coming on, my man. I'd love to talk to you again down the road, but I really appreciate you doing this, Jeremy. Thank you so much.
I'm right here anytime, buddy. Anytime.
Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. Good to talk to you. That's Jeremy London. Listen, cult classics, right? Mallrats, love that movie. My late great sister, Laura, that was one of her favorite movies. She would have it on all the